What's Gucci?
Hey, what's up, man?
How you doing, bud?
Dude, I have no complaints. Just trying to make sure this is actually working. So, if you guys
Uh,
can hear me, that's good.
hear you just
Yeah.
fine. I think chat hears you. We're good to go. I can see you just fine too. Your camera got you on the big screen.
Oh, there we go. It's where
Oh
I
yeah,
love to
bro.
be. So.
I just realized we don't have like official names. I'm John, by the way. Believe it or not, Dr.
Oh,
DEGEN is not my.
I'm Chris.
Chris, nice to meet you, bro.
Nice to meet you too.
Oh yeah, so I hear just started off. I hear you guys met in Wilmington, North Carolina, Lord's country.
Yeah, I love Wilmington. I miss playing beach basketball there all the time. I just moved to LA like a week ago, so I'm excited to go down to
Oh
Venice
shit.
and actually pick up on the courts there. But yeah, like the Wrightsville Beach courts that are like right across from the police
Mm-hmm.
station, like over the intercoastal. Yeah, that's actually where I met the founder and like inventor of our company and the our actual grow systems.
That's crazy. That's crazy. That's where I used to live. I used to live I went to college here. I just moved back a week ago. I just moved back a week ago myself from Colorado. Um, so yeah, that's crazy. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, yeah, I love it. I definitely miss it, but
But I was to say, so how did you first get into crypto? What was your first like foray? What was your doge moment for most people? What was your like, I want to get into this, or was it more through the
um,
crypto grow that you were introduced to the idea of crypto and NFTs?
so honestly, it's like the first expedition into it. Also started back in Wilmington when this is gonna sound bad, but people actually using like Silk Road to buy drugs and stuff. That's when I kind of like
Same
started
here.
to understand.
Same here.
It's like
You're with friends.
when I what yeah, it's like when I kind of started to like kind of like mentally start to grasp like that it was actually going to be like an applicable like crypto's going to be like an applicable like have future uses and things like that for it. um I really was never someone that hopped far like kind of deep in the rabbit hole for it until recently. I think it was last year when I kind of came over from my old job to actually start working like to build out like the marketing and sales platforms for CryptoGrow. Again, I'm not an engineer or anything, so I couldn't help design and build the products for it. Was actually around then when I was coming on. My first like NFT for it was a Bojan Bogdanovic spin move,
Okay.
kind of right before they blew up for it. So that was how we started kind of going and looking at it. And I was going through and I was like, hey, I think we should really like NFT all these systems. Um, and then from there, we kind of started
Oh, so
adding to
you
our
were the
team and talking.
initial. Oh, wow. So it was your idea to go NFTs with these.
It wasn't my idea to go as fully as we are
Yeah.
far now as actually launching on the NFTs. I wanted to incorporate NFTs somehow back then around a year ago for it. It was actually one of our other partners, Josh, who was the one that really got us to start looking in our legal team, like looking through the legality of actually like releasing a hardware tech project through NFTs, which we found out it's a really good space because the
The
NFT
regulations.
community is full of stoners and early adopters. And then there's a bunch of legal benefits for us to do it that way. So it's kind of a great place to find our like like kind of like initial like niche like target market and then expand from there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, from our perspective, we've been looking for this, right? So we've been in NFTs since year and plus ago, and it's all PFP, all no utility, no actual physical claim, and only in the last 6 months have you really started seeing projects that are doing actual use of NFT technology to just crowdfund and fund viable business products, right? Up until then, it's been pretty
Yeah.
ponzonomic in product until very, very recently. And so that's one of the reasons when we first came across your collection, we're like, aha, and that's one of the things we've been trying to figure out, right? Like you say, I've got a church, Elon Musk, where we celebrate with weed, right? We're a real church. What we do is smoke weed at 20 past. Like everybody in the space wants weed and NFTs and decentralized technology to work, right? But getting a
Yep.
coupon code to your local dispensary is not utility from an NFT drop. And that's essentially what we've had. And
Yeah.
so now we're seeing the products and actually, like you guys are the first one I've seen that are actually doing something crypto, like with weed that's like, here, you get a product.
Yeah, and again, it's nice for us for it that we are like only why we're only promising our the initial mint to be able to like the hardware to actually get shipped to the domestic U.S. We do have kind of upcoming announcements with more international partners that'll kind of speed up the international process for it. But yeah, honestly the core of what we always wanted was one of our things from the beginning is like the typical rewards program for everything always sucks. Like it's just every place is a rewards program. Every place is pretty much terrible. You go to Panera Bread, you buy 10 pieces of bread, you get like an 11th piece of bread. Sick. No
Yep.
one cares about that. So we kind of always wanted to at launch like restart that from the beginning. Actually being able to use our NFTs, so like to have the user generate crypto as they go and actually use like for using our hardware was very, very appealing to us. And so we started looking at that, and then we decided to do it as an NFT, just kind of simplify that process.
And so to get into the drop itself, how did you guys come into the idea of using Solana? Was there anyone else that you were considering, or was Solana pretty obvious to you guys?
We're using ETH. We're not using Solana.
Oh, Ethereum. My bad. I apologize. I thought so you're on Ethereum.
No.
Okay.
No, we are. We haven't announced a ton of like the actual specifics to our mint info yet. We've just been focusing on making sure people know that like the machines are real. All the R&D are done. We're not using money from the mint to research the product. Like that's already 100% finished. We are using money from the mint to produce the first 4200. Doing it at that scale allows us to, when it comes to like wholesale kind of like larger manufacturing, we can do it, make the quality of the machines a lot better, because we can afford the tooling to actually do injection molding instead of like a thermoform, which most like small batch actual like plastics are produced out of for it. But no, since we will have a little gap between our actual mint and then when people actually receive the NFTs, we're using like an ERC 1155, so we can change the metadata in the contract just to show that they actually clearly have or haven't been redeemed.
That was the next question: is how is that process going to look for redemptions? Because if obviously you have secondary sales and somebody's already redeemed their machine or claimed, is it a staking thing, or is it how is that? Yeah, that's a good way of doing it.
So with us, we're the core of like our ecosystem for it is going to be grow to earn. With that, we will actually have our app finished. It's being converted to a DApp for it. The user will actually connect a wallet to like verify, or again, maybe something else that's being developed currently, but to verify that they hold the NFT. With that, because our product's actually a hardware, or it's actually a security because we ship a hardware with the NFT, we can't just pay people to use the system or like pay people to own the NFT. But we can pay them for their app data. So that's how we kind of get around the security laws. By once it's verified they have that, we actually like the trafficking data on the app, we collect that in exchange for like the value that we pay for the NFT for staking and things like that for it.
And so getting into the app, now obviously there's an IP aspect of this, because you guys quite clearly on site say that you guys offer grow support, right? Like it's just automated, that you just essentially plug and go, you put in the ingredients and the app can do the rest based on what you give it. How much effort and IP went into that to build that out? Like, is that really is it simply just you plug it and go, I get to get the dirt?
We put in a lot of effort and hours and time and dollars to make it very simple for everyone to use. So pretty much the way it is that you answer 5 questions. Is it a seed or clone? If it's a clone, how old it is? Is it regular or autoflower? What strain it is? And then what type of soil are you using? From there, our app actually pulls from a database, so you do have to be connected to Wi-Fi, but our app pulls from a database which controls the entire environmentals of our system through our app. So the only thing that we can't control is atmospheric pressure. Everything else is all done. There will be certain things like our app doesn't auto add the nutrients, but we have a grow pack that comes with the nutrients, and it'll say add this pack of nutrients at this date. It does all auto watering on schedule, but every 10 to 14 days you will have to refill the water tank, but the app will tell you when to do it. There are also certain things for it. The way our system's actually designed with the grow chamber, we have like with the fluid dynamics of our actual the grow chamber for it, instead of just the heat circling around the chamber, it actually goes above the light and circles above there. So even though it's a shorter system at 42 inches, the plant's actually going to grow out and up to the edges because the heat is coming like evenly from across the entire top. So it's going to grow a little bit more consistent than typically like a randomized like kind of outdoor style grow would be. But it will at certain points of like for cutting and stuff like that, that's when the actual Grow University will pop up with a like educational video. That's again, everything's going to be very short and easy to digest for it because we are going to have a lot of first time growers. But that's going to be what pops up, and it'll show someone trimming or pruning the plant. Eventually, how you what's called like after you complete a couple of grows, it'll start to layer in like more complicated techniques like low stress training for it for actually the like kind of like cracking the branches so they grow back stronger. Yeah, it's pretty much we want to take it down to 5 minutes a week of work for a person.
Okay.
And then it uses about $5 to $10 of electricity.
Solid. That's solid. And you said there's also plans to improve that. Also, you guys had to for dev for. So you guys going to sorry, the question I guess I have from that is, say I get one of these things and I want to sell it, right? Now I've redeemed it, I've grown a couple plants, I want to sell it. How does that, you guys have a process in your guys' mind how that looks? Because obviously the NFT's got to transfer with the physical unit. So is there a...
Yes. So with that, there are again the certain specifics of that. We are going through some different situations for it. We have people too that want the NFT but don't necessarily like want the unit, and we have people that are like going to, especially from international right away. That they're like, hey, can I just send it to one of my friends in the U.S. and they can grow with it, and we'll split the price, and they'll collect their reward
Yep.
from the NFT. All that stuff, we're fine with people working things out like that. We just want to make it. We're going to make it very clear that like we are not the ones working out those deals. So
Yeah.
if you do it, make sure it's someone that you're trusting. Um, no, it's after that. It's kind of like once you have the NFT and the system, once we actually ship them, which it'll be about six to 8 months after the actual mint date, which
Yep.
we haven't announced yet. That's going to kind of be, you can sell the NFT and the system together to someone. You can sell, if you want to keep the system, you can see if anyone for a lower price wants just the NFT. There are other aspects which we have an announcement coming later this week or Monday of a larger platform that we're kind of aligning our roadmap and timeline with, where all of our users are actually going to be able to get like token airdrops and things like that and play to earn right away to kind of help fill up the 6 month kind of like manufacturing
Yeah.
gap that we have built in. So we want to make sure people can actually like see a return of value immediately while they're waiting to get like these sick grow machines.
And so, and then that 6 months brings up the question of, have you guys concerned or in any way considered like the issue with the obviously price drops? You know, volatility in this market's huge, right? You do a 4,200 NFT drop, and then 6 months later, the price of Ethereum couldn't, it has halved before in that sort of time period. So are you guys?
I mean, oh, sorry.
No, that's it. No, good.
I would say with that, not necessarily, because again, we are going to pull part, and again, everything is transparent nowadays for it. We're going to pull part of the money from the mint, and they're going to see exactly where it goes, like to our manufacturer. So then again, everyone's still going to receive the actual hardware unit for it. That's kind of one of our things. It's like I like run all our socials and stuff, so it is kind of like a joke where like we'll always joke like we don't care about the floor price, because at the end of the day we're going to develop.
Yep.
Like we're not going to artificially pump a floor price, because we are like delivering like the tech is sick, an actual like machine to grow cannabis for it. Which, because there is a little bit of delay, we do think that there's going to be a little more stability. We might see certain upticks around as we do like an avatar airdrop, as like the play to earn kind of kicks in and things like that for it between. But we don't expect to see, unless it's people buying initially because they think they're gonna be able to flip for money, until closer to the end where it's actually like near the redemption phase, like a month out. Then we think we could see a little bit of an uptick in like actually like secondhand market activity.
Much like a reveal like sort of process where they reveal later and there's not sales right up there before the reveal, and then people claim, because then true holders get a hold of them.
Yeah, and again, for us too, it's like on the marketing side, once we have 4,200 of these and people are growing everything like beautiful cannabis in their house, and we can use all those pictures for marketing. We don't actually have to do any marketing work, because it'll be kind of self-sufficient. Because what am I going to post that's cooler than someone's like actually growing this from scratch? It's like a beautiful weed plant. Like it's going to be awesome.
For sure. And then, so it seems to me you've got two processes, right? You've got this phase one, and it would appear to me, and I'm going to take the liberty to say, phase one, the drop. You do this first drop, you create the ecosystem that people are buying into, and that allows you to do further drops, right? And then you just grow that ecosystem and just add on to the community as you need and see, right? Allowing you to scale at demand, like when you need, versus, regular funding, you're limited, right? You can't just keep going back to a VC and said, hey, can we get another? Hey, can we get another? That's a different pitch each time, right? Versus this way, you, go ahead.
Oh yeah, and with that too, it's the using it as like a hardware to like sell out the NFT up front. It also allows us, since we have like a written in like already paid for purchase order of 4,200, that we can just finance the purchase order. So then we can have more funding to work with on like the actual kind of like corporate scaling side for it, which we do have. Like it's not just all younger guys. Like we have a very experienced like team in place as far as CFO goes, like a personal advisor of the project, and our COO. Who's brought 3,000 hardware products to market, like hardware tech markets to electrical products to market before. But yeah, so it does give us kind of a lot of options. We have other products in the pipeline. The first one being kind of like a phenotype for our system, where you can basically start growing 3 seeds, pick the best one, move that to the actual system for it. The data will transfer on the app, and then so you won't have to kind of re-enter it from scratch. And it'll give you more growing cycles per year. We have things like that. We have actually incorporating into like the kind of land game of like the NFT of like the group we're partnering with. We have a lot of things that it can affect like the game ability for projects that are already in the pipeline that will start making prototypes with part of like the actual like initial mint money for it. So, but yeah, we have a lot that we're like planning to add to the not only our actual hardware SKU line, but to our ecosystem and everything moving forward.
That's awesome. I love the there's so much room to go in different areas with this. Like after this initial drop, you get, because you then you have the community, and so then you have the ability to add things. And are there any talks or ideas of partnerships? Because like you said, these seeds, people are going to be immediately coming back to you and going, well, you guys give me advice for how to grow this stuff. You guys give me all the materials and stuff I need. What is there any ideas of getting into partnerships with seed companies or doing that kind of thing, or is that kind of
So with that, like right now we're technically a cannabis adjacent product.
Yeah.
So we don't market in like stores in the States. So
Got
we
you.
can legally ship to any of the 48 states for it right now. We are that I would say is still up in the air if we're gonna have actual partnerships with cannabis brands, or if we're gonna let our community kind of self-sustain and find places to source seeds and things like that. Like we have a ton
understood?
of people already that own dispensaries, and they're like, hey, can I like I want to buy one of these anyway. I want to be involved, but do you care if I market that I'll sell seeds to the group? And we're kind of going through there. Are we technically like allowed to market and have partnerships with cannabis brands, whether we're like helping source and deliver? That's a thing that we haven't decided how we're going to go in that process yet. But it is, we have a ton of people that work for commercial grows and things like that already, especially even like with our mods and like our community manager for it. Like she's awesome. But she works for a commercial grow, so a lot of people like that will be able to answer the questions, even if we have to technically, as a company, tiptoe around them.
Gosh. So do you, if we got a sort of time frame for what you guys are thinking for mint announcements for date? Obviously, I've got out of you with 4,200 of them. What you guys have a time frame in your mind when you guys could be thinking to really put pedal to metal on this to announce that, or is it we still kind of just building the first pillars of pieces to start the ad marketing?
Well, we haven't spent any money on actually any marketing yet for it. We wanted to make sure that we did everything organic in the beginning. To see like what the actual questions what we get are, not the questions that thought we were going to get in our head, which are just never the same for it. And just genuinely kind of like concerns, like things people like, things people would add to it. That's actually been going well. We've seen like our community is pretty active, even though it's just building now and still pretty small. I would say, and this isn't like a hold me to this thing, that I could see us in the earlier summer.
Okay.
Early to midsummer for it. That is we have an announcement with like a larger, like more like international kind of financial cannabis platform that's coming out at the end of this week or early next week for it, as soon as we get some things done, which is going to help again strengthen us long term as far as like a project and a company. So that's just a couple things we want to make sure that's taken care of, because we're not looking for the like build excitement and just like rip a mint off like right away, and then we have a bunch of stuff to do. We really are like pretty thorough and like want to get all our ducks in the order to make sure it's successful for 20 years, not 20 days.
For sure, for sure. And then here's the question I have is, right, so you guys have chosen Ethereum, and you're going to go do a token on that. I assume that token will also be on Ethereum. Have you guys given much consideration to the gas congestions you guys are dealing with that and its utility?
I know,
Like, is it
again,
limited to
I know originally we were gonna the first dev team we talked to, we were gonna kind of like spin everything up on an L2 and stuff, so it kind of keeps gas fees down. I, if we're being honest, am not a dev, so I'm kind of trusting like our back end team on that for it. But it's like overall, as far as like kind of like user base and things like that go, we just decided to go with Ethereum, and are kind of like working from there.
And so, real question is, am I able, if after this drop, the only way to get one of these units is through this NFT drop? There's no store I can go on and pay you five. Yeah, initially yes, but is there plans to allow me to do that later, or like, okay, drop's done, you sold out, now they're being shipped? Is there potential for that to where I can go, hey, I like what I see here, my buddy's just posted one of these, or do I have to go through that 42 and try and get my hands on?
So that again, that's something that's kind of still up in the air for us. We do have like a Gen 2 version of our actual systems too. That's not going to be ready soon, but it's depending on like how like tech sourcing and certain things like that for, which we'll be able to do quicker once we have a little more money, because we're still a pre-rev startup for now. We'll probably do, and this is just not set in stone for it. We'll probably do initial drops of like our hardware products through NFTs and implement them into our ecosystem, and then we may after that have like a general instead of like a typical B2B structure for hardware products, like a direct to consumer. We've also talked about for having in certain dispensaries having like systems set up with QR codes where we would just ship the units from our fulfillment center in Scottsdale. There's a few different things we're looking at for. Right now we're focused on delivering like the first 4,200 working perfectly. But yeah, from that, yeah, we have a lot of options for how we want to actually increase SKUs, increase number of units in production, things like that for it.
For sure, man. That's awesome. Well, like I say, I really appreciate you taking the time to come chat with us and explain the product. And it sounds like you guys are one of the first really using NFT technology to deploy a product, right?
Yeah, and that's what, yeah, we're excited for it too. Again, it happened to work out well for us because we have like years of R&D and actual back-end like development done. I'm curious to see what happens more is like you start to get products that are gonna mint and then they're gonna use the mint money to actually research how to build the product and not kind of have it already ready to go. So that's what I'm a little curious about moving forward for. But we thought it was, again, we're really excited to be launching in the Web3 space for it for a myriad amount of different reasons. Yeah, I'm excited.
Well, you already see that in the gaming, right? You see that within gaming. Is like you have two tiers. You have the NFT guys who's like, yeah, we're gonna go build this game, and we have not even picked the devs yet. And then you have guys who's like, we have a game, we want to scale it, and you already see that like in this space, and it's the same thing you're gonna experience. That's why it was interesting for us because you're one of the first. It's like, hey, we have a product, just buy it, you know. Yeah. And so, and we want to. You have no idea how much we want to buy things with our crypto instead of pictures.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like we'll give you pictures too. It's sick, but like it's like you can get both.
Do we have any like pricing guideline? I'm not trying to get specific, but like a range in mind for how much we're looking at. Like I know it's obviously still not going to be an Ethereum price because that could change between here and summer. But I mean, if we got an idea of like range, what we can expect for these units?
It's going to be less than people think. We're staying like pretty tight-lipped about it, but we have a lot of people that think it's going to be something that's near an ETH or like more expensive than that, and it's not. It's
weird. Shit! Well, I was already over that. Well, there you go. Go damn! I was already at 5-10 grand. So that. There you go in my mind.
Yeah, it's under that. If we were going straight to market as just a strictly cannabis product, we would be about 40 to 60% lower than competition with better tech.
Oh, awesome.
We're good on the manufacturing side, and that's one of the things. It's like with us, instead of just rushing to get people on green list, like we really wanted to build excitement first because we think what our prices is going to be an asset, not a wall. Like it's going to be less than everyone thinks. So
that's awesome, dude. Well, I'm definitely pulling for you. We're in the Discord. We're going to be tracking. We're all on the green list. And now it sounds like I'm minting.
Here we go. Listen,
exactly.
That's the first step.
Yeah. Man, well, I appreciate you coming and chatting with us. We'll definitely have to check back in, and once you guys have got some more updates, and we'll track the project going forward. I can't wait to touch base with you and do it again.
I appreciate you guys having me on. Any questions you ever have, do your own research. We're open book, so excited to talk.
For sure, bro. You're a savage for coming on. We'll do it again.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Mad love, though. Good deal. Let's go back live. Love. Oh man. What a good day. Oh man. To the stream raiders. Is anyone else really feeling Uber like super like let's grow weed? Because I'm feeling that right now. I'm like literally. I'm like I want to go. Thank you, Burke. I'm not the best, but we're trying to do little short like NFT interviews where we talk about just talk about collections and stuff, the more real ones, tangible. I appreciate the questions, Redneck. I appreciate you, dude, coming in with those good specific questions. Like I said, it'll get tighter and tighter as we go.